Hello and welcome to my review of the Gaunt Summoner on disc of Tzeentch. One of these models will set you back £24. I don't have the box nearby because it comes in a clamshell pack, which is, yeah, it is what it is. Quite odd that you do get a model in a clamshell pack for £24, but there we go. I don't collect Tzeentch, but you can use this Gaunt Summoner in a Slaves to Darkness army, and we'll be going through the rules for the Summoner a little bit later on. Firstly though, let's have a look at this gorgeous detail on the model. I really like these Gaunt models, these Tzeentch models. As you can see there, you've got everything from many eyes on these quite thin headpieces. Hasn't got any eyes on his face, or on its face, but it does have eyes mounted all on the head pieces. You've got this kind of, like, I want to say tentacle teeth wiring tubing thing on the staff. It's also got three arms. This arm here has got this dagger. Then it's got this book, which you're going to have to handwrite some words and symbols and things on there, which, yeah, that's good. It gives you that freedom to do that. You've got these spikes, which I thought would be a pain and make the model fragile, but it's worked out fine. I would suggest you don't glue them on there because it's going to be difficult to get into those crevices when you're painting, but it's still possible to spray in there and to put a base coat and then to shade and do a little bit of highlighting, I would think. I like these like tentacle arm things that's on the underside of this disc, and I guess this is like the magic that's propelling it forward, I would think. You've got all kinds of tentacles and things around its feet. It looks a bit, yeah, looks a bit strange there. Then you've got this feather ornament on the back and another little scroll thing, and that's about it. Yeah, you've got this kind of bird type shoulder pauldron, and then the book has got some detail on there too. Really great looking model. I don't have the normal Gaunt Summoner, but I have heard good things about this one, and you know, when you've got other sorcerers around like Teclis and things, you know, to have a good counterpart, well, you know, as best you can, is also a great thing. So that's the Gaunt Summoner on the disc of Tzeentch. Let's do some size comparisons. First one I want to do is just with my normal Chaos Sorcerer, which is such an old model. It's right here, and you can see why I wanted a Gaunt Summoner compared to the old Chaos one. Now this Chaos one, I think did come with a square base as well, so yeah, it's an old model. There's not much detail. I would like them to, you know, at least refresh the Sorcerer models for the Slaves to Darkness, but yeah, compared to this Gaunt Summoner, it looks fantastic compared to it, doesn't it, really? So that's where it stands up next to my other kind of wizard, sorcerer, summoner, whatever you want to call it. Compared to a Chaos Warrior from Slaves to Darkness, this is one of the newer warrior models. That's how it stands up. And then compared to the Chaos Knight, yeah, it's similar height with the staff, but the disc is kind of mount level there. And then just a final comparison I like to make is poor little peasant Jacob right here. That's how it stands up next to Jacob, who is typically running away from giants. And just because I have an Alarith Stone Mage right here, I thought that would be a good size comparison, just to give you an idea of where it stacks up. And the Gaunt Summoner on disc of Tzeentch is a bit taller, but plenty of detail still to be had for the Stone Mage. So there you go. Thought that'd be a useful comparison between those mages. No point really doing a comparison between Teclis or Archaon, because they are absolutely huge compared to these. Of course, the last size comparisons I like to make is from models from the 41st millennium. We've got a Space Marine here, a Primaris on the right, and then Slime Arbo in the middle. And as you can see, compared to like a Primaris, it's taller than a Primaris, sort of. So yeah, if you're on the fence about getting this model, rest assured that as a sorcerer, as a wizard, it's going to make a a statement, and it's going to be pretty high up compared to the rest of your army. It's going to be floating about, moving fast, knocking models over. So this is my part of the review where I will go through all of the rules for this Gaunt Summoner on Disc of Tzeentch. You'll find it in your Disciples of Tzeentch battle tome or your Slaves of Darkness battle tome. My lighting has just disappeared. I didn't do that for dramatic effect, but I will carry on anyway. And you'll find the Gaunt Summoner on Disc of Tzeentch as the third option in the Slaves of Darkness battle tome, which means it's quite important, really. It's after Archaon and after the Varangard, then you've got the Gaunt Summoner on Disc of Tzeentch. Then the other sort of leader, HQ choices I want to call them, is the Chaos Lord on Manticore, a Chaos Sorcerer Lord on Manticore, and all the other Chaos Lords, including the Chaos Sorcerer Lord. So yeah, quite high up there in the grand scheme of things. The battlefield role is leader, and its points cost is 260, so it's the same points cost as a Sorcerer Lord on a Manticore, and 10 points more than that Chaos Lord on a Karkadrak, of which I do have, so I might as well put him in there, just to give you an idea. They complement each other, so that's you know, he is taller than the Karkadrak, Chaos Lord on Karkadrak, the Chaos Lord on Karkadrak. So what do you get for all of these points then for this costly model? Well, you do get the fastest unit in the Slaves of Darkness army. Its movement speed is 16 inches. That's faster than Archaon, which he has a dragon. You know, 14 inches Archaon moves. Chaos Lords on Manticores only move 12 inches, and that's the same for all the Knights. So you're getting the fastest unit here at 16 inches. You get a save of 6+, unfortunately. You get bravery 8, and you do get 6 wounds, which is quite low. But it is a single model armed with a Change Staff and Warp Tongue Blade. So the Change Staff is a range 18 inch, so it's got an effective range there of 34 inches. Attacks 1, 3+ to hit, 4+ to wound, no rend, but it has a damage of D3. The Warp Tongue Blade is a range 1 inch, 1 attack, 3+ to hit, 4+ to wound, no rend, but a damage of 1. And the Blades and Stingers, range 1 inch, attacks D3, 4+ to hit, 4+ to wound, no rend, but a damage of 1. This model can fly, and this model's Disc of Tzeentch attacks with its Blades and Stingers, and that's for the mount. Abilities: Book of Profane Secrets. Once per battle at the start of your hero phase, you can say this model will use its Book of Profane Secrets. If you do so, you can summon 1 unit from the list below to the battlefield and add it to your army, but the number of spells that this model can attempt to cast in that phase is reduced by 1. The summoned unit must be set up wholly within 9 inches of this model and more than 9 inches of any enemy units. So one of the units, you can have 10 Pink Horrors, 10 Bloodletters, 10 Plague Bearers, 10 Demonettes, or 6 Furies. The Hovering Disc of Tzeentch, you add 2 to save rolls for attacks made with melee weapons that target this model, unless the attacking unit is a monster or can fly. So that's pretty good. So if anything's going to attack it in combat, you know, you're essentially going to be getting a 4+. Warp Tongue Blade. If the unmodified wound roll for an attack made with a Warp Tongue Blade is 6, that attack inflicts D6 mortal wounds on the target and the attack sequence ends. So that's nice, you can have up to 6 mortal wounds with that Warp Tongue Blade. Magic. This model is a wizard. It can attempt to cast 2 spells in your hero phase and attempt to unbind 2 spells in the enemy hero phase. It knows the Arcane Bolt, Mystic Shield and Infernal Flames spells. That's quite nice. The Infernal Flames is specific to it, as you can't get a normal Gaunt Summoner in the Slaves of Darkness army. It has a casting value of 7. If successfully cast, pick 1 enemy unit within 12 inches of the caster and visible to them, and roll 1 dice for each model in that unit. For each 5+ of that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. If that unit is a monster or war machine, roll 3 dice for each model instead. Very nice. You're getting that 5+ mortal wound, but against monsters, you've got a higher chance of getting that 5+ for that mortal wound, which is quite nice. And there you go. That's my full review of the Gaunt Summoner on Disc of Tzeentch. I think it's a fantastic model. It's going to be incredible to paint. You can really spend a lot of time painting this one, I can imagine. And it works pretty well in the game. You know, summoning those units is very useful. And yeah, casting 2 spells and binding 2 is useful as well. and it's so fast. You know, it can just whip about the battlefield. One of the best things about the model is that you can do that. Just keep it away from any ranged attacks if possible. What do you guys think of the Gaunt Summoner on Disc of Tzeentch? Put your thoughts and opinions down below as always. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. Death to the False Emperor.